Welcome guys to another interesting session. Now we are going to consider this video as second party. Now we are going to focus on how to change sentences given in direct speech into indirect speech. Now before we look into that, first I want to share with you guys 10 advanced words for this video. So the first one, we have very hot, so we can use boiling. So boiling is not only used in a chemistry science, you can use it in a conversation. Then the second one, we have sweltering. The second one, we have very terrible. We can use horrendous. Then we can use another one, hazardous. Hazardous is coming from the word hazards. Very painful. So for this one, we can use excruciating. Apart from this one, we can also use unbearable. Unbearable is very common. I'm sure we've heard of someone saying the pain that I have is unbearable. So that simply means it's too much. The person cannot bear that pain at that particular time. Then number 4, minuscule. So minuscule is for very small. Sometimes you can also use petite. Very old, ancient. Very cold, we can use freezing or frosty. Then number 7, we have very scared, so we can use terrified or petrified. Then number 8, very angry, so we can say indignant or enraged. We have very crowded, for example, if the area or the place has too much people, so you can just say jam-packed. Okay, so we have jam-packed or cramped. Then we have very rich, worth. Apart from worth, we can also use well off. Apart from well off, we can also use prosperous. This one is common. So these are the 10 advanced words that I prepared, that I wanted to share with you guys in this video. So share with me the words that I can also learn from you. Now let's begin with our lesson. So our lesson, as I said, is just a continuation. Now we have the first rule. Rule number 1, we are told if we are given the words can in the direct speech, we are supposed to use the could in the indirect. So the indirect speech is also known as the reported speech. So sample, he can do it. His trainer expressed. His trainer expressed that he will not change. Can changes to could. So his trainer expressed that he could do it. So that's our answer for that one. So remember, if the direct one has the can, the indirect, you are supposed to change it into could. We go to rule number 2. So rule number 2, if they have used the word must, So the must changes to had to. So the sample, the rebel leader ordered, he must eat it. Begin, the rebel leader ordered, so say ordered that he had to eat it. So that's our correct one, that the rebel leader ordered that he had to eat it. We move on to rule number 3. Rule number 3, if they have used may, so may changes to might. Sample, we may lose our resources. The plant manager said. Begin, the plant manager said, so we're saying may will change to might. We changes to they. We change to they. Then what else can we change from this one? Our changes to their. So I'm going to say the plant manager said that they might lose their resources. So they might lose their resources. Let's move on to rule number 4. So under rule number 4, we are told if they have used do/does changes to, so do/does changes, this should be did. So changes to did. Sample, we do it, the pupils confessed. So the pupils confessed that. We changes to they. Do changes to did. So the pupils confess that they did it. Move on to rule number 5. So rule number 5, if they have used did, you need to use had done. For example, I did it, John disclosed. So what are we going to change? I, since we are looking at the male version, so changes to he. Did changes to had done. So our answer would be John disclosed that he had done it. So that's our correct one. We move on to number 6. Where was changes to had been or where. So sometimes where can be maintained. So if, for instance, you are given where in the direct speech, you can still maintain where in the recorded speech. For example, the one that we are given here, they were police officers. A witness testified. So if want, we can say a witness testified that they were police officers. Or if want, we can just say a witness testified that they had been. They had been or were police officers. Right, we move on to rule number 7. So rule number 7, we are given have had or hazard changes to had had. The sample question, the moderator concluded, we have had a wonderful discussion today. So from this, we is going to change to they. Have will change to had. Then, excuse me, the had will remain the same. Today changes to that day. So you need to remember you have to do this. So the moderator concluded that they had had a wonderful discussion that day. Because we are looking at what happened on a particular day. So this is in the past, so we can't say today. The person that said that is already in the past, so we have to say that day. For example, maybe it was that day of any day from last week. So I can't say that today when I'm talking about the past, so I need to use the word that day. Then we move on to rule number 8. Here changes to there. Mary found her books here. The teacher said that Mary, what are we going to change? Here we'll change to there. So the teacher said that Mary found her books there. All right, we move on to rule number 9. So rule number 9 is about when they have used there changes to, it can be to that place or at that place. For example, Mary found her books there. Katapa reported. Katapa reported that Mary so we need to add had found her books at that place. Move on to rule number 10. Now changes to then. We are now happy with the new idea, said Jones. John said that we changes to they. What of are changes to where. Now changes to then. Johnny said that they were then happy with the new ideas. Okay, so now we can move on to the last one. So the last one then changes to at that time. I was then in grade 1 when the accident occurred. David record that I changes to he. Was changes to at that time. So say he was at that time in grade 1 when the accident occurred. So as you can see, even in English, is manageable if, for example, you follow the rules that are given in the book. So the advice that I would like to share with you guys is that please make sure even on your timetable include English. We do study English. That's why we have books. So never follow that myth of you don't study English. No, English can be studied. That's why we have books. Buy books, research, then follow the rules of English. I'm sure by the end of this year, you might find yourself to the next level. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.